Hello everyone, and welcome back to Rayman 3 HD on the Xbox 360. I am one more sheep yet again, and strange things are happening. Or at least, it seemed like strange things were happening in that final cutscene anyway, where, well, let's just say things are interesting, needless to say. But anyway, we are now moving on up to the top of this tower that we are finding ourselves in. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is the final stretch. This is technically the final world of the game. We are almost done. And of course, because this is the final world, obviously the things are going to start getting a lot more challenging, a lot more difficult. We're going to be chucked with a lot more mooks on screen at once. We're going to have to deal with a lot more enemy variety. And, basically, as long as you are careful enough, you shouldn't have too much of a problem with these last couple of levels. But, you know, you expect to get hit a lot, expect to get overpowered by tons and tons of mooks. And what I sort of especially recommend whenever you're dodging laser blasts, particularly in this final world, is to actually use your helicopter-y hair tail thing that Rayman has, because you can actually use that to stay in the air a little bit, which it may help out to dodge a couple of these NG bullets that are being shot at you from like 5 or 6 people at once, you know, folks. But, well, the music cut off really abruptly then. Let's just continue booping these guys and collecting everything, what shall we say. But yeah, like I said, it's the final stretch of the game now, ladies and gentlemen. If you have trouble at this point in the game, then it's probably to be expected. You know, you should probably expect to have a lot more trouble in comparison to the earlier portions of the game, just because you know it's end game. If you expect it to be easy, then it wouldn't surprise me, because a lot of end games in games tend to be easy these days, in particular. But I digress. I digress indeed. However, if you're young and you're playing this game, you may have quite a bit of trouble. Like, I remember I had quite a bit of trouble playing this back in the day when I was younger and when I first got hold of it. So, this final stage was a bit of a test on my younger me playing skills. Not so much anymore. I am now good at games. Or at least I like to tell myself anyway. So, I don't really have too much of an issue in this particular area. But, you know, it can be quite tricky. It can be quite tricky. Especially jumping from each of these small platforms to one another, because this game doesn't exactly have the best frame rate in this particular area. The frame rate just dies, and I don't know why, because the water, like the liquid texture on the floor, I don't think that'd be very hard to make, would it? I can't imagine that being too hard texture to render, because it just looks like a sprite's being played over and over with a bit of transparency. I don't know. For some reason, this room has massive frame rate issues, and it drives me absolutely crazy, and I don't know why. I don't know what causes these issues, and no. Bad developers, this was on the GameCube. You should be able to play it just fine on the Xbox 360. And a couple of you are probably going to say, oh, but it's in higher resolution, it's harder to render. Yeah, it's harder to render in higher resolution, true. But bear in mind, this is an entire console generation after the GameCube, you know, folks. It shouldn't be that hard to play a GameCube game in a higher resolution if it was programmed and ported properly, you know. I mean, hell, I had a PC around a similar time that was less powerful than the Xbox, and I can emulate the GameCube just fine. So it's no excuse, goddammit. But I digress. Anyway, moving onwards, we do need to deal with more of these mooks, and that bloody toilet machine gun guy drives me mad. So deal with all the mooks around him first, and try and aim for the guy with the dollar sign above his head, because obviously the guy with the dollar sign above his head, he's got hold of the punchy punch power. Obviously, we need the punchy punch power. Nothing else can hurt the big guy apart from the punchy punch power. Where's the... oh, it's all the way over there. What a weird place to spawn that. Instead of spawning it where the enemy died, you spawn it at the other side of the room. That's annoying. Granted, that's just me nitpicking, but still, come on, spawn where the enemy dies. Come on, bruh. Come on. All the other power-ups spawn where the enemy die. Give or take for the most part. But get used to seeing those guys. We are going to see quite a few of them. Basically right away, because, oh god, there's 3 of the sods now. However, This might be intimidating to you, but don't worry. Fighting 3 of these mooks at the same time, it's actually a lot easier than it looks. Trust me on this. You basically have to go back every now and then to recharge your punchy punch power, and just punch the guys in the face. What can I say? And also, one thing I should probably mention as well is I did mention before that when you get hit, you lose 1 point. Well, when you get hit with a punchy punch power, you actually lose 2 points. Why? Because the score multiplier is still on and it counts towards everything, whether you gain points or lose points. So you should be a bit careful about that, folks. You should be really careful. At least I think it gets rid of 2 points. I don't know, I didn't really check then. I think it does. So just be a bit careful, you know, the score multiplier does account for everything, including getting hurt, gaining and losing points, so... Just something I figured I might as well bring up, especially during the end game where you're going to be trying to dodge everyone anyway, so... Now you have an even higher incentive if you want to unlock all those fancy-dancy special mini-games, you know, folks. God damn it, this bloody fight. Fighting these enemies can be a bit of a pain though, especially whenever you're fighting multiple of them. And if you get hit while you're charging up your punch to actually, to actually get rid of their shield, the hit will stop the charge. So you'll stop charging up your punch, and whenever you do fire out a proper punch, it'll be a weak version. So keep that in mind. If you get hit, your punch will reset. The strength will go up to its lowest level. Bit annoying, but, still manageable enough. Just keep at it, what can I tell you? And stop saying help, you bloody teensy, you're driving me mad. If you can't hear over the video, there's actually a teensy yelling help, because there is a teensy in this room. And, I'll save you in a minute, goddammit. Be patient. What's with the fireworks? Seriously, why the fireworks? But I digress. Right, let's collect all these collectibles first, and we do have a couple of enemies and whatnot still left to deal with in this room, because even though we beat all the big mooks, we got this guy to deal with. This guy will give us a power-up that is necessary to progress on. Well, after the force field. This is what I was on about, actually, the other part. Around this point, they're going to start daisy-chaining these guys together, so have fun with that. It's not really difficult, it's just more frustrating. But yeah, this guy's got a power-up that we're going to be needing in order to get out of this room and deal with things like the teensies and what have you. So deal with this guy first. It's kind of weird how this guy spawns in, because this guy takes a few seconds after you deal with the main moves to spawn in, so... I don't know, it's kind of strange. I just always found it weird when he spawns in, because there's no indication he spawned in, and sometimes I find myself wandering around quite a while until I realize, oh, something's shooting at me, you know? But I digress, it's time to chase down our shoe again, yay! And I do believe this is either the final shoe minigame or one of the final shoe minigames left. So, yeah, get used to seeing this shoe because we're not going to be seeing it for much longer in the playthrough. Bit of a shame, but you know. Although one thing I want to mention is actually the shoe design by here. If you notice, there's actually a little red... There's like it's like a red spot on the heel of Rayman's shoe. Ever since I saw Rayman's design for this game, because obviously they updated his character design for this particular Rayman game. Ever since I first saw that, I always thought of Sonic the Hedgehog in Sonic Adventure, because in Sonic Adventure you get these items called the Lightspeed shoes, which are basically Sonic's normal striped shoes, but they got this extra little bit of part on the soles and heel. And they also have like a little circular thingy as well, which it's a different color, but you know, the shoe design by here always reminds me of the Sonic Adventure Sonic shoes. I don't know why. And then Sonic Adventure 2, they went completely weird with the shoe design, and it just gave me this sort of nuclear radiator in the back of them. I don't know what the point of that was. But of course, for defeating our shoe yet again. It sounds so weird to say out loud, doesn't it? For defeating our shoe yet again, we do have access to the Choppy Chopper power, which we can now utilize. However, if you notice, there are more mooks in this room, so let's deal with them first. Let's deal with the mooks that are popping in from the ground. Why? Because if you kill the right mook, we gain access to the rocket power. And obviously you need to use the rocket to free this bloody teensy because he's been a nag. Stop saying, hey, help me. Alright, I'm Rayman, I'm a busy fellow. How many people with do you know how hard it is to move your arms without move your hands without limbs? It's a pretty difficult task, you bloody teensy scums. Be grateful, alright? But there we go, I saved those teensies. And you can probably still hear another help noise. There is another teensy around somewhere. I can't remember where off the top of my head, but there is another teensy around, so we'll be dealing with that pretty shortly. But first, let's just grab the Choppy Chopper power-up and start making our way, shall we? Of course, I find it more difficult to jump onto this grate than anything else. You know, it's surprisingly difficult to jump on this grate just because you need to be pixel perfect with the Choppy Chopper power. You need to jump and fly at the maximum height. It's kind of weird. But, I digress. Let's just move on, shall we? And I do believe we are actually going to be getting hold of that teensy that was yelling help later on because he's inside, if I recall correctly, he's inside a platform that's behind a wall that we can't quite get to just yet, so do not fret. Hey, a teensy, yay!
Oh, I got to go blow a fuse.
You gotta blow a fuse? What? These teensies say some of the weirdest things at times, though. I love the dialogue given to the teensies. I have to have a look online, see if someone's uploaded the full dialogue, because some of the things they say are just questionable. Like, my favorite one happened earlier on in the LP. It's like, I gotta go alphabetize my sausages. Like, what the fuck? What? Oh, it's madness. But yeah, as you can tell, we're back in the original room again. And a very large portion of this level does involve going from point A to point B. Basically, you're going to be backtracking a lot. You're going to be seeing a lot of the similar areas as we get through this to get through, you know, to progress, which isn't too big a deal because I know for a fact we're making progress. But if someone's playing this for the first time, they'll probably go back to this room and be like, what? I've been here already. However, where we haven't been already is in here. This is how I know we're going the right way. Basically, the general rule of thumb is if you find new gems, find new crystal thingies, then you know you're going the right direction. Or at least somewhat the right direction. But, hey, platforming sequence time. Yay. Just move from point A to point B, you know, and do your usual shindig. It's actually a very easy little platforming sequence to get through, so I wouldn't fret if I was you. I wouldn't fret at all. Just keep moving up. And Bob will be your uncle. But yeah, this is a long level, isn't it? Like I said, we're at the end game, and the big problem with the end game stuff is the levels do start to drag out a lot longer than even levels normally up until this point. You know, it's basically end game stuff is very long. It takes a long time to successfully finish, but I hate that jump, by the way. It's such a really awkward jump to make because you need to be so precise. But yeah, this. God damn it, the stage does start to drag on from this point. However, don't fret, do not fret. I mean, we have like one part left of this normal platforming and then we're at the end game. However, you remember that teensy that was yelling help earlier on, getting on my nerves? Well, he's actually in this room. If you just take the right passageway, he is all the way down the bottom and he will actually supply us with the way to finish off this level properly. So punch. Oh my. And that's a fantastic health up. Jesus Christ, look how large our health is. Rayman could be a boss battle with that level of health. I mean, Jesus H. Christ on a bike. Followed by a T-Rex on a trike. I don't know. I need to come up with new phrases. I'd never be able to stop you from what? Sorry? I couldn't quite catch that last bit. You went really quiet. But anyway, with that, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this part. So thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. Don't be sheepish, people. Now catch you all next time when we finish off the last of the platforming challenges and start to head into the final boss of the game. So yeah, thanks for watching. See yous after. Bye!